That's Wendy Barnes Farrell. That's our Agape House Band. And whoever you are and where you are a unique expression of infinite potential. Coming into a greater awareness that you matter, you're important, you're significant, that you are a distinct unit of infinite potential with gifts, talents, and capacities that are like no other. Just as there are no snowflakes exactly alike, there are no beings exactly alike. Each of us bring a sense of uniqueness of how we will harness and activate and express the gifts of the universal spirit that is everywhere in its fullness, and that by means of us is seeking to express itself and know itself more completely and more fully. So when we rise into the theme of the month, which was brought home last week through our Reverend Arlene, which has something to do with the spiritual awakening of humanity at this time in human history and the power of authentic spiritual community, we're coming to a great understanding that we are indeed living in a remarkable time at this particular moment in human history, a time in which the spiritual back is at our wind. When we think about Yeshua ben Joseph or Jesus the Christ, we think about Gautama the Buddha, we think about Zoroaster, we think about Walter Russell, we think about Kuan Yin. We think about individuals that broke free from the limiting perceptions of life, and at the time in which they did this, Akhenaten, the great pharaoh in Kemet, who came forth with unity and oneness, we think that we become aware that these particular individuals, of course, did this in the time in which there was such density in human consciousness, where there was not necessarily a back to the wind in terms of human consciousness. Of course, the universal presence is always with us. And because of the vibrational imprint that they laid down, Jesus woke up, had a great awareness of his oneness with God. Buddha woke up, oneness, awareness with life itself, and other avatars, of course, and thus left a vibrational footprint that is pulling us to a greater awareness of who and what we are. And as the reading indicated, that was on the theme of the month, when you just look at the last number of years on the planet, you can see that there's been a great sea change in conversation, in dialogue, in discussion, in absolutely discussing the spiritual principles now in scientific terms. That which has been spoken about for years and years and years by mystics and visionaries and metaphysicians are now being talked about by individuals who have their particular learning in epigenetics or quantum physics and evolutionary biology, and that the new sciences, the cutting edge of science, are now articulating the same things that the mystics and the metaphysicians have been talking about for years, and that there is a vibrational sea change on the planet. It's a remarkable time to be alive. It's a remarkable time to be awake. That though there seems to be a lot of fear, doubt, and worry, and a kind of a collusion of consciousness around how bad things are, as we step back and look at the whole thing, we can begin to see that there's absolutely a death happening of an old paradigm and a birth happening in a new paradigm. And for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, there is a movement that is becoming stronger and stronger on this planet at this time in human history, and people are breaking out of religiosity and coming into an awareness of the Spirit of the living God is real. You've heard me say over the years that religionism is a belief in Scripture and religion more than a belief in a feeling of God. And so that individuals are fighting over religions and have forgotten the presence of God. But we're living in a time now where that's becoming very difficult to do, because this presence is becoming so real to so many. So this is a moment in which the awakening of humanity is really happening. And the power of spiritual community is so potent and powerful because you have the opportunity to pray and to meditate and to vision and to serve with individuals who are not caught up in the little eddies of religionism, but to be caught up in a wave of such pure spirit of love and of beauty, of which Jesus said God is love itself. Not a man, but love itself. And so when we come to an understanding that we're living in this remarkable time, that the wind is behind our back, pushing us, it doesn't mean things are just going to automatically happen. It means there has to be some level of spiritual practice, some level of intentionality, some level of consistency, so that we can absolutely, it's like if the wind is blowing, but the sailor is not putting up the sails, the wind is blowing, but the boat isn't going anywhere. And so, though the spiritual wind is at our back, we have to put up our sails with spiritual practice, with intentionality, with affirmative prayer, with meditation, with sacred service, with hanging with open-hearted and high-minded people to such a degree that proverbial wind of the Spirit of the living God takes us beyond our wildest imagination. And I love saying that, even though in our teaching we love to re-enchant our imagination so that we begin to no longer be hijacked by worry, doubt, and fear and imagining worst-case scenarios, there comes a moment in which we leap beyond our imagination to that which can't be articulated by words, that which can't be imagined by the mind, a real potent spiritual awareness that changes us at our core. And we grow from glory to a greater glory. And there is a leap, and it comes like a thief in the night. We don't even know that we've changed until we've changed. And then people say, what's happened to you? You say, I don't know, I'm just different. It's a quantum leap. Thus the topic, conscious choice, our quantum leap. Now, when we begin to come to an understanding that expanded awareness allows us to consciously choose meaning, every time we have an expansion of our awareness, our choiceability becomes more potent. We're no longer merely reacting to circumstances, conditions, people, places, and things. There is the ability to absolutely choose. It's a conscious choice. And when we begin to live at that particular dynamic, we begin to be aware that our experience is not determined by conditions, not determined by circumstances, not determined by petty tyrants, not determined by dictators, not determined by politicians, not determined by whatever is going on in the world, that our particular experience is determined by our moment by moment by moment choice. And the consistency of that choice from the high elevated consciousness of love, so that in substance, we begin to live in the capital R reality, the power and the presence and the love of God being everywhere, because it's omnipresence, it's omniscience, it's omniactive, it's omnipotent, it is everywhere in its fullness. We begin to have a conscious choice, which then opens us up to seeing that which is real and that which is eternal. And no longer are we just riding on the waves of lack, limitation, scarcity, not enoughness that has invaded human consciousness to such a degree that people actually believe scarcity is a real thing, that lack is a real thing. No, it is not. It is a belief. Energy has never been created or destroyed. There never has been any lack. There's only been a limited perception that has been placed upon humanity so that people get caught up in a belief in lack and limitation, and then they experience lack and limitation as a dimension of their experience, but it is not real, meaning that it is not eternal. Conscious choice leads to a quantum leap. A leap is going from one state of consciousness without a ladder. It means that with consistency and stabilizing insights that we have, we notice that we have moved into what we could call a higher state of consciousness, but actually it is an expanded state of consciousness because there is no high or low in God. There's only an expanded awareness of that which is. In other words, if you're looking through a keyhole You're seeing a little bit of experience of what you are looking at. But if you just go outside, then you see a whole nother panorama of truth. So we're actually expanding our awareness with spiritual practice. Expanding our awareness with declaration and decrees of truth. Expanding our awareness by spiritualizing the intellect rather than intellectualizing the spirit with real study and meditative contemplation of the truth that makes us free. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? And so with the awareness that we are holographic beings, a hologram is simply the part contains all of the whole. We are holographic beings, meaning that the entire universe, the cutting edge of science is now catching up with this truth. The entire cosmos is within us. We reflect the entire cosmos. We reflect the power and the presence and the love of God. And our brain produces a holographic expression of our beliefs, perceptions, points of view, positionalities, all of that. And we have created a kind of a holographic simulation that reflects and reveals the highest thought and awareness mixed with thought forms of lack, limitation, and that produces a whole holographic experience, a simulation of life that people are living in at this particular moment. And we are here, as Buddha did, as Jesus did, to break free from the simulation of reality and to step into the bright sunlight, the bright sunshine, that God is everywhere, life is everywhere, peace is everywhere, joy is everywhere, abundance is everywhere, except where it's being shrunk by and suppressed by limited perception. And so what we must do as we expand our awareness through spiritual practice, consistent spiritual practice, we must choose consciously from a higher state of awareness in order to break free from the simulation. So what do? We begin to come to an understanding that one has, first of all, know you're in a simulation. First, know that. It's a game. Just pretend that all of this is a game and that you're seeking to get out of the simulation of separation. And so you have to choose, in order to get out of the simulation of separation, you have to choose from a higher frequency. So first thing, know you're sleepwalking. Know you're in a simulation. And then you begin to notice, one, you notice your intuition, and you notice the synchronicities that are happening in your life. Don't take them for granted. Every time you notice a synchronicity, you notice your intuition was correct, you notice it. You kind of maybe even write it down. You begin to, we're talking about a quantum leap here, you begin to make that very important in your life. Why? Because a part of the brain has become addicted to negativity and fear. And worst case scenarios, when anything seems to go wrong, oh my God, why did that happen? Oh, the mind goes there and makes that very important, but your intuition and the synchronicities, you kind of blow them off. Okay, so one, notice synchronicities, notice intuition. Two, notice every small miracle that happens in your life. Don't blow off the miracle. It may be small to your egoic mind, but it is God breaking through. And so if you just notice, somebody gave you a compliment. Somebody did something nice for you. You heard something good about yourself. Something showed up for you that you weren't quite expecting, but it was good. It's kind of a minor miracle. And there are major miracles in the mind as well, but you have to acknowledge the miracles in your life. If you acknowledge the miracles in your life, you notice your synchronicities. Then what happens is, in this holographic expression of a simulation that is simply the configuration of thoughts, beliefs, perceptions that humanity is holding, mixed with insights and revelations, you start to break free. And then you choose from love. That's number 3. You start to make choices from love. You're in the middle of an intense situation. You ask in substance, and you've heard this for many years, what would love choose now? You begin to make your choices from the consciousness of love. In other words, if you choose from bitterness, you choose from unforgiveness. Those aren't choices, by the way. Those are reactions. Those aren't choices. If you react, bitterness, hate, separation, greed, stinginess, gossip, if you're operating at that level, you're going deeper and deeper and deeper into the simulation. You're not winning the game. You're losing the game. But when you choose from love, forgiveness, compassion, generosity, you're starting to wake up from the game of this sense of separation, the separation simulation. So you learn, and it's a practice, because sometimes it's hard. Because as Dr. Howard Thurman reminds us, sometimes we want to give as good as we get. We don't want to be run over. We want to stand up for ourselves. We want to do what we need to do to somebody. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay to stand up for yourself. But ultimately, there has to be a choice from love in order to break free from the simulation of separation. And then number 4, I don't know why it's giving it to me like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, in a holographic expression, we're connected to everything. We're connected to every being on the planet. We're connected to every tree, every flower, every plant, every grain of sand. We're connected to every animal, every insect. We're connected to everything. So that means your choice has to be a choice in which you are considering your whole connection to the eternal. We are interconnected with everything. How does that work? You're about to choose something. Say to yourself, how is this choice affecting a little baby in a war-torn area that's being killed? How is this choice affecting a little baby in the Congo? How is this choice affecting anybody on the planet? And what does that do? It takes you out of me and mine, because, we're important to ourselves. We are, and there's nothing wrong with being important to yourself. I got to have this. I need this to be happy. I got to have that to make it through the day, whatever. But if we're going to break free from the simulation, we have to think bigger. Sometimes you may be in a conversation with somebody, and what you're talking about, when you expand your consciousness, was so insignificant. It was like, that wasn't even important. Why was I arguing about that? But the ego had you so clustered in this small dynamic. And so one, you begin to be aware that you're in a simulation of separation in this quantum field of infinite potential. You're in a holographic dynamic of a simulation that's created by time and space and thoughts and beliefs and perceptions of which Jesus broke free from. And ultimately, you're thinking, what choice, because I'm connected with everybody, what is this choice? How is this choice affecting the trees? How is it affecting the earth? How is it affecting everyone on the planet? Now, my consciousness begins to expand because I'm not locked in my little self. I am important. My incarnation is important. As Arya Ratne used to say, our friend Arya Ratne of Sri Lanka, don't blow your incarnation. So the incarnation is important. Absolutely. You need to be met. Absolutely. Somebody has to be accountable for your incarnation, and that's you. But in order to break free, you have to realize that you're connected to everyone. And if you think from that dynamic and choose from that dynamic, you begin to break free from the egotistical little consciousness that pulls you into bitterness and hate and blame and shame. That takes you deeper and deeper and deeper into the simulation. And so heaven and hell aren't places, they're states of consciousness where there is a condensation of the thought of limitation and egotistic desire. And then heaven is, I'm connected with God. I'm connected with everyone. I'm connected with people that don't like me. I don't even care. I'm connected and love everybody, you see. And then you begin to understand that with every insight and revelation, every stabilization of your insight and revelation through spiritual practice, you have more power to consciously choose. And when you fall, you catch yourself. You consciously choose, catch yourself. Consciously choose, catch yourself. So that your experience of reality is not determined by the mass hypnotic spell of the media. You go to different parts of the world, you see different stories told by different perceptions based on the culture and the country. All saying, this is what happened. And this is why it happened. America is one of the most censored countries in the world. So anyone who just watches, for instance, Western media and believes it, that is, you can watch it, but if you just believe what you're watching, you're hypnotized. Okay. So you have to get your information from your soul. Your soul will guide you as to what's real and what's unreal, you see. So let's start at the beginning. We're living in a potent and powerful time in human history. Our indigenous cultures and our Native American cultures have prophesied for this time in human history, when that which has been held secret for hundreds of years is now open. It's on the internet. You have people that don't even know what they're talking about the law of attraction. They have no understanding what it even means, and they're writing about it, and they're quoting other people. It's okay, because people are waking up. What is that? What's the law of what's the law of radiance? What's the law of emergence? What is this? I can really change my reality? Oh my God, let me get a car. You know what I mean? You got to start somewhere. I remember back in the day when I was in the movie The Secret, and I got severely criticized by certain people. The people who weren't in it, for being a part of the movie. And I had to remind them, I said, it was a Trojan horse that snuck into society, reminding people that conditions and circumstances and situations and how you were born and the place you were born in, and whether you're the second or third or fourth person that were born, whatever it was, does not determine your destiny. That your destiny is determined by your own choices. Your destiny is determined by your awakening. Your destiny is determined by your own spiritual practice. It was a Trojan horse that now, years later, the average kid knows that their thoughts are units of mental energy that can be transmuted into behavior, speech, perception, and ultimately experience. Now, I've said over the years, I love Pierre T. Desjardins' statement of we're a spiritual being having a human experience, but I always edited that and said we are a spiritual being having a human incarnation. Let's choose our experience. Let's don't just have a human experience and get caught up in the undertow of the belief of our society. Let's choose our experience. Let's declare and decree. All of our needs are met. Let's declare and decree life is for me and there's nothing against me. Let's declare and decree that we are eternal and immortal beings right now. We're not going to immortality. We are immortal in this moment, and when we shed the body, we will still be immortal. Let us declare and decree that everything is working together for our good. Let us declare and decree that we are loved and supported by a divine presence that's never an absence. Let's choose our experience. Let's not let it be left up to luck and fate. Fate as Carl Jung reminded us, is simply the outpicturing of unhealed trauma that hasn't been looked at, and it shows up as fate in our life. But there's destiny. That's different. Destiny is something that's been placed within us by God. Destiny is something within us that's been placed within us by life itself. We all have a beautiful unfolding destiny, but it doesn't just happen. It happens just according to our perception, our speech, our behavior, our spiritual practice. Those Olympic athletes didn't just win accidentally. Simone Biles didn't just accidentally win, didn't just transmute and embrace her emotional healing and step up on the platform and win. It wasn't accidental. She did some work. She went in. She discovered places where she needed to heal. She shut the world out. So I don't care what you think about me. I've got to stop and go inside to handle my business. And then came out and said, how you like me now? And so in that same substance, same awareness, we've got to stop sometimes. Go within. Handle our internal business. Has nothing to do with anyone else. I was saying a couple of things that I'm just coming to my mind right now that emerged in the way of meditation service. One thing that emerged was that which is called secondary causative factors. When we are in limited consciousness, we live from a great degree from what is called secondary causative factors. That is, we will unconsciously say to ourselves, if only that person or that thing would change, I'll be happy. Now that's a secondary causative factor. That's something, that whatever that condition is already exists. That is an artifact of a previously held point of view. And so you're waiting for that thing to change, whatever it is, to be happy. We teach as absolutists because we believe there's only one God. That's what an absolutist is. Absolutist is an aware there's only one God, even though there are infinite. Ooh, God, don't even let me go there right now. Infinite potential. We go to the presence. First cause. Presence. I have an awareness of my oneness with God, which allows me to feel, oh, my need is met. Allows me to feel, oh, my body can heal anything. Allows me to feel everything's working together for my good. And then I'm not concerned with secondary causative factors. They will change or they won't, but they won't prevent me from being successful, happy, joyful, you see. And then the other thing that came through, as I stood up here on the stage this morning, I walked up and I heard Reverend Juanita Dunn say, continue. And it reminded me of years before Agape existed in this form. I was not even, hadn't even graduated from the school yet. Was the minister, I was just in class. This young boy who had a spiritual awakening. And Reverend Juanita Dunn said to me, Michael, I want you to come up to the front of the class and give the opening evocation, which was like a shock to me. I said, really? Okay, I do the same thing to my students too. It's time for you to pray. Anyway, I walked up and I began to speak. I began to move into a state of gratitude and recognition of the presence, and I started speaking, and the next thing I knew, I was up on the ceiling looking down at myself. And then I was aware that I was bigger than the building. I was expanded way beyond the city and the church and the planet, and I was shocked me, and I was just, and I heard Juanita say, continue, because I stopped speaking. And she said, continue. I'll always remember that. And as soon as she said, continue, I started to speak again. I started talking about the presence and the power and the love of God and how we're all blessed, and this is going to be the greatest class. And it went on. Then I became body consciousness again, became body conscious of my body. And I sat down, and she just stared at me. She had these little mystical eyes, and she just stared at me like, You know. But the point being, in that moment, I once again broke free from the simulation of time and space. I broke free from the simulation of time and space. Oh, you know what's coming to me now? I might as well tell you. Dr. Homer Johnson, he used to talk about the consciousness. And he would say, there was these fish swimming in the ocean. And you know how they swim with each other. They have this telepathic communication, and they kind of just groove with each other. So a big wave came and knocked one of them out of the water onto the beach. And the fish was looking around and never been on the, and it was having difficult breathing, but it was looking around like, what the heaven is going on? What is this, a beach ball, volleyball? What's happening? What is this? Didn't have any words for it, I'm making it up. Anyway, and then it popped back into the water. And the fish gathered around and says, what did you see? What's going on? He said, He had no words. All he had was consciousness. I'm telling you, when you open up and go beyond your imagination, and you become consistent in your work, and you begin to break through the simulation of separation, sometimes all you'll be able to say is, I don't know what to say. You know, I feel privileged that at times I get to articulate the ineffable to the best of my ability. I get to explain what can't be explained because it is more real to me than the stage I am sitting on. Right. Life is good. Yeah. God is real. Yeah. Jesus was right. And we just get to live in that vibration and frequency. Greater things than these shall ye do. It is done unto you as you believe. And belief is the condensation of thoughts, opinions, points of view. If you think something over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, it becomes a belief. So have a conscious choice. I believe God is here right now. I believe there's a way out of every single dilemma. I believe there's an open door here even though I can't see it. I believe there's a way out of no way. I believe it, 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 I believe it. I feel it, I articulate it, I say it, I declare it, I decree it, and it becomes my belief, and then it is done unto me as I believe. Not magic, it is what it is. Conscious choice leads to a quantum leap in which you go from one state to another without a ladder, except for your expanding point of view. Heaven is a state of consciousness. Heaven is ever expanding good. Heaven is at hand now. God is within. Go in. Go in. Like Simone Biles did, go in. And then come out and say, ta-da, my life is a good life. And even when the skin is peeling and it don't feel good, know there's something good happening. And keep on coming back. That's the power of community. So when you're down, you get a field it's vibrating a little bit higher than you at that moment that can lift you. You call the prayer ministry. You speak to a practitioner. You speak to a friend that says, I got you. It's going to be all right. Until you feel it in your bones. Woo! 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 Now, I want you to know something, just so that nobody's saying anything about that. I've been doing that way before Noah Lyles. You know how he jumps? I've been doing that for years. He may have been looking at us. All right, enough nonsense. As a matter of fact, Jennifer, give us a little dance with the Rev moment. Just 30, 40 seconds. Everyone who can stand up, move your body. Get those endorphins flowing. Put a smile on your face. We're taking an adventure in paradise. As we're lifted up. If you look within spiritual domain, you can begin to see a little bit differently. There's a broadcast going on. Woo, it's coming from within you. There is something within you that wants to express. There's something within you that wants to express. That wants to come forward. Something wants to come forward. And appointed by the Spirit as the image and likeness of divine and ultimate reality. As we make in that domain, we bring heaven to earth as a spiritual practice. Wake up and say to yourself, I'm taking an adventure in paradise. And guess what? Enter into the gates with praise and thanksgiving. I'm activating my spiritual stimulus package. I'm taking an adventure in paradise. Your stimulus package begins with an awareness that your source and fueled and abundant by abundance. Renewable resource which is within you. It's within you. It never runs out. It never runs out. It's your essence. It's your life. It's your life. Your divine spiritual stimulus package is activated. Oh, I love this song. I love you. I love God. I love loving. As the music begins to fade on down, remain standing for just a second, because I want you to take a vibrational stand for life. Have your back erect. Feel any moment in your life. Doesn't matter when it was. Feel any moment in your life where you felt confidence moving through you. You just felt like, whew, I'm one with the universe. I got this. Just feel that confidence. Now, this confidence is not in your little self. This confidence is in life, the presence, the power, the love, the intelligence that's everywhere. Feel a sense of surrender and a sense of divine confidence. A confidence in the presence of God. Oh, the presence of life itself. Oh, as I said, over the years, it corresponds to the nature of our song. It responds to our vibration, our frequency. Our frequency is our currency. It understands our frequency. Let there be light and love right here. Let it. Look at any area of your life that needs some mending, some healing, and bring this light to it right now. Just say, there's an answer here trying to emerge. There's an answer emerging right now. There is a way of what appears to be no way, and it's happening right now. Oh, I'm recognizing the presence in this deep state of gratitude that's becoming our collective attitude. We're breaking free from the matrix, breaking free from the simulation of separation as a holographic expression of infinite good. The word that is being spoken is the word of God, of love and of beauty, of intelligence, order and harmony, abundance, with the authority of one knowing that all that there is God. And everything that truly is a manifestation of the only thing that really is. And I speak it for each and every one of us, that we may be free today, spiritually liberated, and that anything that would hinder, delay, obstruct, or deny this, oh, it has no power here. No. Why? Because there's only one power. God. love, intelligence. Only one. Only one and only. Only one and only. Only one and only. That would be us. That would be here. That would be now. You may sit down now, but maintain your stand in confidence and in life, in love, in the presence that is never an absence. Oh, infinite presence, closer than our breathing and nearer than our hands and feet. How great thou art. How infinite is thy holy, holy name. Thy divine nature in us and as us, how great and as infinite, majestic as his presence is. It must come through us, as us. We let it, we surrender, woo, we allow, woo. Oh, miracles. I'm calling forth divine miracles for each and every one of us. That's a quantum leap. The miracle already exists. It doesn't come down, we go up. It's already here. We're lifting our vibration. Healings are happening. Manifestation of prosperity is happening. The glory of God is being glorified through us. We're glorifying the presence. Wow! Yeah! Woo! Oh, all I need you to do is to feel it. Feeling provides the healing and the revealing. We feel it, feel it. Feel that confidence. Feel that love of God. Feel it. Oh, come on. Help them feel it. Woo!
Yes, feel. I see trees of green.
Oh, you're singing my mama's song.
Red roses too. And I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, oh, what a wonderful world. Yes, just feel it, yes. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, it's just a wonderful world. See the colors of the rainbow, they're so pretty in the sky, and they are also on the faces of all the people going by. And I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? And they're really saying, I love you. I hear babies, they cry, and I watch them grow, and they'll learn much more than you and I will ever know. And I think to myself, yes, I feel it, I see it, it's a wonderful world.
Oh, you might as well just say it. I live in a wonderful world. My world is wonderful. I live in the world that God sees. That's where I live. Higher ground. So as we continue our inward glance for just a moment, we're going to join our prayer ministry and the practitioners in prayer for these individuals who are reaching out for prayer, but really reaching in.